Hi there, Meekachii here. So I'm going to be filming my January wrap-up, February TBR, even though it's almost the middle of February, but don't mind that. I've had a busy month, which is why I'm very surprised that I was able to finish 7 books. I'm very proud of myself, gotta say, because I did not think that was going to happen. To be fair, 2 of these I started in December and finished in January, but whatever. I'm also, like I said, going to be going over my TBR for February, stuff that I've technically already read and plan to read for February since, you know, it's already like the 10th, but no one has to know that. If you hear a cat in the background, I'm sorry. She's kind of going a little crazy right now.
Yeah, because we had to take her to the vet.
We took her to the vet and she screamed the entire way there and back. And now she, like, for some reason is being very restless. Like, she just wants to, like, walk around and yell.
Here's a clip of it. So we're taking the cats to the vet.
We already filmed this video once.
And your phone sucks, so it didn't record anything. And I forgot my glasses. You can see Oswin. She'll do that all day, right?
Well, in the car.
She'll do that all day in the car.
She doesn't stop.
Then we got the other 2 back there, kissing each other like you said.
Kissies. They're probably just on the opposite corners, like balled up. But yeah, it took us about 15 minutes to catch all of the cats, so that was fun. We just missed it.
No, we didn't. I'm gonna take a right.
Wait, I hear her. Ready?
Got him.
No, I'm filming. Go away. I know I love you. Okay, so the first book that I managed to finished?
You suck at this today.
Man.
As usual, what's new, right?
So the book...
What are you doing, me?
So the first book I managed to finish in January was Gunslinger Girl by Lindsay Eli. I ended up giving this book a 3 out of 5. It was nowhere near what I thought it was going to be about. I thought it was like a Western from the cover. I mean, that's what it looks like. And I didn't read much about it. Talks about a girl, serendipity, pity.
Wait, that's her name?
Serendipity
Pity?
Well, they call her Pity.
Oh, okay. I thought her name was Serendipity Pity.
No.
Who would name their kid
Serendipity, that? But they call her Pity.
Is it like Sarah Dippity?
No.
Saren?
You know, like the word serendipity?
Yeah, is that her first name?
Yes.
What's her last name?
I
Pity?
don't, Jones.
Oh. Serendipity
They
Jones
just talk
Pity.
about her being the fastest sharpshooter in the New West. I thought it was like, oh wait, this, oh, book here, it did come out. Basically, I thought that this was going to be, a Western, but it's really like a futuristic yet post-apocalyptic novel of these little communities that are set up in the West, and some of them have kind of like a Western vibe to them. And then there's just like overall bad guy type corporation taking over the world and blah, blah, blah. So she ends up finding her way into this city that's not really ruled by this government yet. It's kind of like a free city where people tend to go to. And it's really like she becomes a performer there for like, you know, her sharpshooting skills. She ends up being a performer. I feel like this is like a trope that happens all the time in YA. Like something you're good at and you have to like go like perform it for people. I don't know. It wasn't what I thought. So I feel like that brought my rating down. It was written okay. The characters... didn't really care much about them, to the point where I know that this is like the first book in a series. I don't know how many books it's going to be, but I really don't plan on picking up any more after this, because it just didn't like intrigue me enough at the end. The end didn't even like make me feel any feels, so I was like, me. It's
also an anime, but not based off the same story, but there is a girl, and she is a gunslinger.
Oh yeah? Alright, so, alright.
Alright?
So the second book I finished in January was Ahsoka by
I love that cover.
E.K. Johnston.
Love that cover.
Yeah, it is a cool cover. You need to just sit next to me next time and like, because you're talking a lot, but no one can see you. I listened to this in audiobook form, which is, I highly recommend that. This book in audiobook was awesome. There was constantly like background noise, background music, like epic scenes. You could hear the lightsabers. Like, it was so cool. If they talked about something being dropped on the ground, you would hear something dropping. It was like really well done, really well produced. Bonus fact, the voice actor that does Ahsoka in the show, the Clone Wars and the Rebels show, does the audiobook narration. I really like her as a voice actress. And the story itself was pretty good. I kind of feel like I was listening to, like, a mini arc in the Clone Wars TV show. Like, if you've ever watched the Clone Wars TV show, I feel like the way it was written was kind of like one of their mini arcs that they do that's like 5 or 6 episodes long. The Jedi end up interacting with like a minor group of characters and like help them out, and that's kind of how this flowed. You do learn some really cool things. So basically this is set after episode 3. So after Order 66 has already happened and all the Jedi are either gone or on the run. So Ahsoka at this point is not really supposed to even exist. And like she's trying to keep her identity, but at the same time help some people because, I mean, she is a Jedi at heart, even though she never technically became a Jedi. But you learn stuff about her.
Whoa. She never became a Jedi Knight.
No, they said in this she was never a technical
Padawan?
Jedi. Yeah.
What? But she was a general. General
She said that she never became a Jedi. I don't know.
I guess a Jedi is when they become a Knight.
Yes.
So it's Padawan, Jedi Knight, and then Master? That seems like there should be something in between there, like Super Padawan or
well, I think you become a Master when you start teaching and you get a Padawan of your own.
Yeah, but I feel like it should be like
so not
Padawan,
all
Jedi Knight, Master. Do you see what I'm saying? There should be something. You shouldn't go from like being like
a Jedi to a Master.
No, a Padawan to a Knight. I feel like there should be like just a Jedi like section.
Yeah. So I feel like the little mini story that they came up with wasn't the best written thing ever. You do find out some pretty cool things about Ahsoka and about the Star Wars world in general after after Order 66 happened. So yeah, I gave it a 4 out of 5. I really enjoyed it. And if you're a Star Wars fan, and especially an Ahsoka fan, I think you would like it. Then I picked up Beneath the Sugar Sky by Seanan McGuire. This is this is actually a sequel to Every Heart a Doorway, but you do not have to read, I think it's called Down Amongst the Sticks and Bones.
Oh, I remember that one.
It's the second book, and you don't have to read the second book, because I hear the second book is kind of a prequel-ish.
Down Among the Sticks and Bones, yep.
Yeah, I was right. Basically, this is almost like a direct sequel to Every Heart a Doorway. So if you've only read the first book, you can go straight into this one. You're following a new character. I don't want to give away too much. It's really cool. You see a new world. So you actually follow some kids into one of these doorways and into a different world. So you see, like, basically a sugar world where everything is made of sugar. They're trying to do something. I don't want to give too much away. I liked this one slightly less than Every Heart a Doorway. I don't know if it was the characters or... It's not the writing, because the writing is just as good. I love Seanan McGuire's writing, and just like so many people do. These books are really small, but they pack so much into them. I ended up giving it a 4 out of 5. I don't remember what I rated the first one, but it's a solid read. If you really liked Every Heart a Doorway, this is a really good sequel. I then picked up The Summer That Melted Everything by Tiffany McDaniel. I do a book club every month where my followers and me, we pick a book and we decide to read it. We meet up at the end of the month and talk about it. This one is basically about a young boy that shows up in this town called Breathitt in Ohio. It's not a real town, I looked it up. It doesn't exist. But he shows up and claims that he's the devil, and you learn about all these crazy things that happen as a result of that. And when I first went into this book, I thought that it was going to be very paranormal, very like, just like a fantasy novel, sort of, I guess. I don't know if you would consider that fantasy, but I did not think it was going to be what it was. And I really kind of hated on it for a little while, probably about halfway through it. And once I gave up that it was going to be like a paranormal type book, and I accepted it for what it was, and I accepted that it was just an adult contemporary novel, I ended up really enjoying this book. I gave it a 4 out of 5. This author was so thorough and deep with like explaining things. There were things at the end that tied up with things in the beginning of the book that you thought had no bearing whatsoever on the story. It was very well written. And if you are just in the mood for like an adult contemporary novel, I really recommend this one because it really, really was good. Especially once I stopped thinking it was something that it wasn't. Then I picked up The Hazelwood by Melissa Albert. This one I think came out in January, yeah. So you can actually pick this book up now. It is, I want to say like an urban fantasy type book where this girl and her mother are basically running away their entire lives. The girl doesn't really know why they're running away. The mother has all these secrets. She has a famous grandmother who wrote a book that is like highly coveted and it's very rare and people are always on the lookout for it. And this girl herself, even though it's her grandmother, has never read it. Then she gets a letter saying that her grandmother died. The mother thinks everything's okay and they stop being on the run. All sorts of crazy stuff happens. I don't want to give too much away besides that. The Hazelwood is essentially where the grandmother lived before she passed away. And it's basically about fairy tales, but it's a different way to look at fairy tales. It was written pretty well. I ended up giving it a 4 out of 5. I didn't care too much about the characters, but the story was really good. I was really into it. I didn't find myself at any time while reading it like bored with the story. I really wanted to know what happened. I feel like it wrapped up pretty well at the end. Didn't have too many like typical YA tropes in it. So I really enjoyed it. If you're looking for just a fun, action-packed, like fantastical fairy tale type world, I think you'd really enjoy it. Then I finally started reading the Grisha novel. So this is the first one, obviously, Shadow and Bone. I really, really enjoyed this book. It's written very different from the Six of Crows duology, but I really ended up enjoying it. I think the magical element is really awesome. I like the main character. I don't overly love the main character. There's some really interesting bad guys in it. And I feel like it's pretty complex in the way it's written. I'm not going to talk too much about it because a million people have read this series already, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. I gave it a 4 out of 5, and I'm now going to be reading the second one. So the last book that I finished in January was An Enchantment of Ravens by Margaret Rogerson. This was also a book club book. In January we did 2 books, but I think for now we're going to stick with 1 book per month. So this is the second book, and I have very mixed feelings about this book, as do so many other people that I've heard of that have read this. I think I ended up giving it a 3. I feel like I really did enjoy some of the characters in this book. I know some people had issues with that, but I did enjoy them. I thought the characters at times were well developed, like their personalities. I feel like the main 2 characters in this book had a very unique relationship with one another, and I thought it was really cute. And I liked reading about them together, but there are so many inconsistencies in this world that the author created that I had issues with. I found myself writing down, most of these tabs are issues that I had, like, I don't even know how to explain it without ruining something, but like she would, for example, I'm just going to give one like really inconsequential example, but in this world, if you thank a fairy for something or one of the fae, they have to respond. Or if you bow to them, they have to bow back, which I think is stupid in the first place because where did that law come from and why? Or it's not even a law. It's like they have to, they're compelled to do it. And I don't like stuff like that where they don't explain why.
They're like house elves.
Yeah, house elves have to do it out of respect. They don't technically have to do it. Like,
but they feel compelled.
I guess, but these are like, they literally can't do, like these fairies, like they can't do anything because they can't stop thinking about how they didn't bow back to you or something. It seems kind of silly. Some of the rules in the world were very silly, but there would be inconsistencies also because then you would find parts of this where she was bowing to them and they weren't bowing back. And I was like, you're breaking your own rules. You created these rules. So I gave it a 3 because I liked certain parts of it. Certain parts I flew through. A lot of people say they hate like the traveling parts, but I feel like those were my favorite parts. And probably, I would say about 75% of the way through I got more bored. I really liked the ending, but it was okay. It wasn't fantastic. My TBR list for February, The first one I picked up was The Bells by Danielle Clayton. This is now out if you guys wanted to check it out. It is beloved by many. I've already read it, to be honest. I'm not going to give you my review yet, but it's about a girl, or there's a group of people called the Bells, and they're born essentially not gray. Like, basically everyone born in this world is gray, physically, like literally. And the Bells are ones that are born with color in their lives, and they have the ability to make others beautiful and add color to them and like change their appearance and things like that. And these bells are highly coveted. Our main character wants to basically work with the queen and become like the best belle. There are so many like YA tropes in this, but basically that's what it's about. So many people love it. Kind of spoiler, I didn't really love it so much, but I'll talk about it in detail in my February wrap-up. Then I picked up Broken Beautiful Hearts by Cami Garcia. This is the author that does the Beautiful Creatures series, which I never finished that series. I read the first couple of them, and it really started boring me. But this is a contemporary novel about it's a girl, it's a teenage girl where she has something really bad happen to her. And as a result of that bad thing happening, her future soccer career might be on the line, and her friendships that she had are on the line because her friends don't really believe her as to what happened. She lost her boyfriend. She ends up moving to a different town to try to kind of like repair her life and repair herself. And it's a contemporary YA novel. I'm almost done with it. I literally have like 50 pages left of it. And yeah, it's a pretty good YA contemporary. There's some really dumb tropes that you see all the time that like I wish they didn't have in here, but it's not bad. If you're looking for kind of like a YA contemporary that deals with a lot of hard issues, then you might enjoy it. But as with the last one, I'll let you know my final thoughts later on. As I already mentioned, I'm also reading Siege and Storm by Leigh Bardugo, which is the second book in the Grisha trilogy or whatever. What is it called?
I like that name.
The Shadow and Bone trilogy. What?
Leigh Bardugo.
Leigh Bardugo. Yeah, it's a cool name. I'm this far into this one, so over halfway.
How many pages?
334. And there's 435, it looks like. I don't want to give too much away about my thoughts, but I'm not liking it as much as the first. I guess it's all going to come down to the end of this book and if it wows me. But yeah, it's a continuing one.
Wow.
To Shadow and Bone. What?
Wow.
Wow what?
Wow you.
I don't understand.
I just wowed you.
Okay.
Got him.
Last but not least, the final book that I have in my February TBR, I'm not sure if it's going to be the actual last book that I read, is City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. Chakraborty.
That's a cool name too.
Yeah, I don't know how to say it though. But essentially, this is our February book club pick of the month, so we are still doing it. If you want to join, feel free. All you have to do is read this book and jump on the live stream. It's going to be February. That's a weird word.
February. That's like the hardest month to say.
I know. It's going to be February 24th, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you want to read this book and join in, feel free to do so. The more the merrier. The more we could talk about what happens. I plan on picking this up probably today or tomorrow. But I don't know much about it. I know that it's a fantasy story set in kind of like a sandy area. And there's magic and possibly genies, and I hear really good stuff about it. And I didn't want to know anything else besides that, but I've heard really good things. So, I can't wait to read it. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like the video if you liked it. Don't forget to subscribe if you liked it. Hit that bell next to the subscribe button if you want to be notified when we come out with new videos. Please join the book club if you want to. We do a new one every month. I always put out a new video every month describing which book we're going to be reading if you're not able to make the live stream to do the voting. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Look out for a book haul. There's going to be one coming up very soon. And I will see you next time.